Okay, we're live, guys. All right, so first of all, what I want to do is first of all welcome all you guys to this meeting on Sunday. I'm happy you were able to make it to a Sunday hangout. And Claudia, I know that last week we had you up. There he is. There's Dig. Welcome, Dig.
Yay, Dig. Hi, Dig.
Dig, can you hear us? He's got a lot of background noise, so you might have to get him to mute. Dig, you there?
Hello?
Hey, Dig, how are you?
Good boy.
I'm okay, you?
Good, good. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that's great. And it looks like I don't see your face, but I do see your the room that you're in, so it looks like your camera is working, but it's not showing you.
Same issue I'm having.
Yeah, it looks that way. Showing the background.
You see it again like that.
Dig, can you try and adjust your camera setting so that it's showing you?
Yes, I'm trying. What I do? What am I supposed to do?
When you first joined, you should have an option. You should be able to adjust your webcam so that it's showing you, and then you can usually do a preview so you can see if it's working properly.
Okay. But continue when you are trying.
You know what you can try, Dig? It didn't work with Tamara, but you can try getting off, leaving the Hangout, and coming back in. And when you first come to join the Hangout, it usually will ask you if you want to adjust your camera settings and your webcam. So you can try leaving and then coming back in and seeing what happens.
Okay.
Okay? We'll give you a few minutes before we get started.
Okay. But you know I struggled to come in. You remember I was here, then I struggled. I'm so afraid to go out.
Right, now, because I know you were there and then we lost you.
Yes, and to come in, I really struggled.
Well, the other thing you can do, Dig, if you don't want to do that this week, you can turn your camera off and we'll just have a thumbnail sketch of you. It'll be like it was last week.
Oh.
So you can do that if you want it. So if you just want to turn your camera off, that'll be the quickest way to just get started.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll get it worked out for next time. But at least we can see you now. You're not live, but at least we can see your face.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Dig, we're live now, so we are broadcasting. Now, the last meeting, Claudia, unfortunately, you were in a hospital bed, but very fortunately, at least you got released during the beginning of the Hangout. So we never really got a chance to do an official introduction with you, and we didn't with you either, Tamara. So the first thing I'd like to do, and I know that some of you guys have connected with one another offline, online, but outside of the Hangout. So let's start with Claudia, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and sort of introduce yourself to the group. Most of us know you, but Tamara doesn't, and then we'll give Tamara the same opportunity. Okay, Claudia.
Hi, I'm Claudia from Nevada. Actually, I got into network marketing in my home-based business because of my health. I have lupus and severe RA, and the medicines they put me on were making me sick, and I found essential oils and natural products, which has really helped me, and I started building a home-based business and started on Facebook and kind of found Mark and Gavin, and here I am. I've been doing it almost 6 months now, and it's really, the more I learn, I think learning as much as you can is the most important thing. And that's what I'm doing, and then, implementing everything I learn right away, and it's really working. So here I am. Happy
That's
to grow
great,
with
Claudia.
you guys and learn.
No, that's great. We're certainly thrilled to have you as part of the group, and I've seen the progress that you've made in a short period of time, and it's wonderful. So keep on learning. Certainly, keep on doing what you're doing because you are doing a great job. You're moving your business in the right direction. You're taking daily action, which is a great thing. And you're in the right place at the right time. And certainly Gavin's group and the team and the Networking Superstars is designed to really help all of us take our business to the next level. So just, keep
Yes.
on with your learning and your growing. And you're doing a great
And
job.
my sharing, yeah.
And you're sharing. Absolutely, the sharing is an important ingredient.
Yes. I think that's the most important, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, having an online business is certainly an adventure, and it's a process. It doesn't happen for most people overnight. Again, it is a process. It does take a little bit of time, and those of us who are persistent, consistent, we take daily action, we persevere. We don't have that, we have that never give up attitude. We're the ones that will, in the end, reap the benefits of that. Too many people, they're very close to, reaching a breakthrough. They don't even realize how close they are, and then they leave the industry or they drop out. And, it's unfortunate, but it's important to just keep on going and to battle through. Now, we
Yes.
lost... Go on, sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you and saying it's not something that happens overnight. This is not a get-rich-quick venture. And if you think that it is, then you need to go back to your 9-to-5 job, because it isn't. And it is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and consistency and dedication, but it does pay off. All of a sudden, you just see it explode, and then you're so busy you don't know what to do. So thank you, Mark. I call Mark my Obi-Wan. He is my mentor. So I don't do anything without asking him first, and then when I do, it's just amazing the results I get. So.
Well, that makes me very happy. I'm really thrilled that you are getting results, and I'm thrilled that you consider me your mentor. It's an honor, and it's certainly a pleasure, and I'm certainly there for all you guys, anytime you need me to. And, you're all spreading your wings. You're all growing by leaps and bounds. And, all of us have just there's usually just one missing piece to the puzzle, and for a lot of people, it takes a little bit longer to find that puzzle. And it's really, it's having the right team and having the right training and the right support. And I think we're all in a situation right now where we really do have that. So that's, probably the most important ingredient, and that's the missing ingredient for a lot of people. So I'm happy that we're all working together to help one another to achieve the success that we all deserve to have. And, yeah, too many marketers just, they don't have the patience to wait. And I can understand a lot of people invest a lot of money. They want to see a return on their investment as quickly as possible. They don't want to keep spending money, just spending and spending and spending and not see results. But jumping from one opportunity to another, one platform to another, because you're not seeing those overnight results, is counterproductive. And those people just keep stunting their own growth by jumping around to the next shiny object. Too many people in the industry, coaches, sponsors, they just recruit. They bring people into their opportunity. They bring people onto their platform. And as soon as they get you, they just leave, and you don't hear from them. You don't see them. You don't get any training. You don't get any support. So I love what we have going on with our team structure and concept. It's great to see that happening.
Yes, it is.
Now, Tamara, it's your turn. You're on right now, so we're going to ask you the same thing, to just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, my name is Tamara. I'm here in sunny Florida. Moved back here down in 2011. Mark knows my story. A lot's been going on. I was with a company. Well, actually, it wasn't a company. It was another group, or another, showing how to do online marketing. She employed me for a short time, and I just couldn't feel her concept doing traffic exchanges and safe lists, and I just didn't feel that I was connecting with people. She was a red personality. It was very hard for me to try to talk to her. Every time I did, it was like, oh, just go do it, just go do it, just go do it, and never have the support that I am seeking for. After that, I ended up taking 14 months a sabbatical, as you may want to call it, because I had to reinvent myself, because unlike Claudia, you found essential oils because of your condition. I couldn't find a network marketing company that I could support. And so I decided that, God gave me a message that people has a talent, and they are to use that talent to create their abundance. regarding if it's crafting or loving cats or dogs or painting, photography, you name it, you know. But some people do feel that their passion is network marketing. Mine happens not to be. But I will help other people fulfill their dreams, you know, if that's what they want to do. That's why I'm here. I did videos and training and all that with her, so I look forward to being part of any training that we do and move forward from there. Um, Unfortunately, I'm sorry if my voice is cracking. I'm having a hard time. I just lost both of my parents for the past 6 months, and things aren't as good as I want them to be. But Mark and I have talked about this. This is a mental challenge to show that with the perseverance and that not give up attitude, I'm going to make it. So thank you all for being that support for me as well. So that's my story.
Tamara, thanks for sharing. I know that's, you know, not always an easy thing to do because it is very personal. And certainly, you know that you have our support, you know, as a team and your, you know, your online family. And, you know, anything that we can do for you to give you that support and to give you that encouragement, that motivation, you know, we're certainly going to be here for you. And I give you a ton of credit. I can't imagine, you know, going through, you know, the loss of two parents in such a short period of time. I lost my mother about 3 years ago, and I know how difficult that was. So, you know, my heart goes out to you. You know, all of us here, certainly, you're always in our thoughts and prayers. And, you know, you're part of a team, and I know you see the big picture. And, you know, good things are definitely ahead for you and all of us. So, you know, we're happy for you to be part of our team so we can work together.
Thank you for having me.
And Dig, you'll be happy to know that your camera seems to be working and we see you live on camera. So I guess logging back in or whatever adjustment you made certainly worked, so that's great. Quick question for you guys before we get started. I mentioned this to Glenna before everybody else came on, and you know, today we weren't planning initially on having the Google Hangout today on a Sunday. But being we did, I wanted to know if Sunday actually works better for you. What is a better day for us to have the Hangout? Saturday from noon till 1 or so, or Sunday from noon till whatever we end?
Actually,
I like Sunday.
Okay, so that's one Sunday from Claudia.
And
yeah.
I've already cleared with my boss that I have the next 2-3 months off on Saturdays.
Okay. Okay, so and do you work on Sundays too, Tamara?
Yeah, I have to be at work at 3:30. So.
Okay, so we have a Saturday and a Sunday over there. Dig and Glenna, what works best for you, and we'll try and figure everything out because I certainly want all of you guys to certainly be here. And I think for Deb, I don't know if Sunday works better for her. I know today did not work for Deb, so it's possible that Saturday is a better day for her as well. Dig and Glenna, I know Glenna told me that Sunday is generally a better day for her. And Dig, what about you?
I can fit both days.
Okay, all right. So you know what? We're not going to have
to do both too, Mark. So.
Okay.
I can do either one. So.
Okay, but I don't want to lose Tamara. You know, if we do it on a Sunday. So it looks like we can discuss it a little bit more. You know, after the Hangout. But at this point, it looks like it's probably going to be Saturdays. Because I want to make sure that we have everybody. You know, the Hangouts are always going to be recorded, so if anybody does have to miss it for one reason or another, at least it'll be recorded, so you'll have the replay link. But at this point, I guess we'll probably look to keep it on Saturday. If anything changes down the road, you know, we can always adjust that. Okay, next question for you guys before we get started. Just as far as what everybody has done this week, you know, actively to move your business forward, I know that we have, I don't know if we really have the accountability partners set up yet firmly. So I want to make sure that we do that before we end the Hangout today. But just unmute yourself, Claudia, and let me know what you did this week, even though I have a pretty good idea what that was already. And let us know what you did this week to move your business forward.
What I've been doing is studying and learning the Gavin's 6-step sequence pro, which is just amazing. And then I'm taking what I'm learning and implementing it into the group. I'm also I'm an affiliate with MLSP, which has really helped my business grow tremendously with everything that they have. they're funnelizers. They're already made websites that you can advertise. The blog, which is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I didn't think I could even afford it, but and Mark will tell you that that's what I got into 6 months ago, and it's just helped me tremendously. So that's what I've been doing, is just really working and studying and then implementing what I learned.
Excellent. And that's exactly what you should be doing and what we should all be doing. Now the nice thing is not only are all of us on the same team with Networking Superstars, but we all are in MLSP as well. So MLSP is a wonderful platform. The resources that they have are second to none, and it really does give us all a great opportunity to really stand out, to really have a lot of value to offer to people. And also one of the reasons why today, which we're going to get into very shortly, I want to make sure that we're all taking advantage of setting up events properly, because probably one of the most powerful things to do, when you have webinars like we have, whether it's Gavin's webinars or whether it's the MLSP webinars, sending guests to a webinar where your host will not only offer pure value, but in many, many cases will actually close your guests, get them to join your business, get them to take a trial. That's very powerful, because all you have to do is send traffic there. So one of the most powerful ways to do that is with creating your own event. So when we do get started shortly, I just want to make sure that all of us are using the event platform to the fullest to make sure that we can get the biggest bang for our buck. Anyway, Dig, unmute yourself and just tell us very quickly also what you did this week to move your business forward.
Well, this week I've been looking for more members for my Facebook community page. Then I also visit other members' communities where I like, and I also comment. Then I do some postings on my community fan page, and then I also did some blog posting. In addition, I did manage to do what do you call that? Is it event? I did an event on my community page. I also did events on my Google Plus profiles.
Excellent, excellent. I did see, Dig, I did see your events. So that's great that you actually took action. You did set up events on Google and on Facebook, because that's certainly a big, big step in the right direction. So congrats for doing that. And I want to make sure that all of us are able to do that. I basically use. Basically, it's a template that I've sort of created that makes it a little bit easier to set up the events every week, because you certainly there are a lot of other things during the course of the week that you want to do, like you mentioned, visiting everybody's communities to show support, commenting, liking, sharing, things like that. So you don't want it to take up a tremendous amount of time. Hey, Dick, can you just mute yourself again? There's a lot of background noise, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
Great, thank you. So it's important that we all try and leverage our time. So I don't want us to take up too much time creating those events, because there are a lot of other income-producing activities that we certainly want to take advantage of. So one of the things I will show you shortly is what I generally do to sort of not shortcut, but just so that it doesn't take quite as long to set up an event. And we'll get into that very shortly. Anyway, Glenn, if you can unmute yourself and just let us know how your week was and what you did, that would be great.
I haven't done anything.
Appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, I have my income tax that's due, and I'm working on that. So I didn't even get on Facebook because I was afraid I'd get distracted. So I mean, as far as, to me, it's moving forward, because now I'm clear on the path I'm going, and doing my accounting, getting that straightened out. So it's like a lot of back end stuff I've been doing. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually happy that you did mention that, because I want everybody to be aware that, as important as it is to take that daily action, there are going to be times when you just can't. I mean, Tamara, with everything you've gone through, I mean, you're unfortunately a perfect example. There are going to be times things are going to come up in your personal life that just prevent you from just really focusing on, the business aspects of your life. Claudia, unfortunately, you haven't been feeling well over the past several weeks, and you wound up in the hospital. So that's certainly a very legitimate reason not to be, taking the daily steps that you need to. I applaud you guys for doing what it is that you're doing, even during those down cycles and those down periods, and it's great that you are. But, understand and don't, feel guilty, or don't feel, oh my God, I've really got to get online, I've got to do this today, or I've got to do this week, because there are going to be periods of time where you're not going to be able to. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you're still, you have certain connections that are sending you messages and want some information, and you're communicating with your prospects and your leads, that's great. But if you have periods of time where you can't get online, you can't get on Facebook, you can't, create the content that you want to create, forgive yourself if that's the case, because it's, it's understandable, and it's going to happen to all of us. So, certainly that's not something to be overly concerned about, because by and large, once you have that vision and you know what direction you want to take your business, and you're in the process of making that happen, that's the most important thing. And, you do the best you can every day, and if you have to skip a day here and there, that's life. And sometimes life just doesn't get in the way, and that's all well and good, and part of the process, actually. Tamara, if you can just unmute yourself and answer the same question, what you've been doing this week. And I know that, you probably didn't have a lot of time, and again, completely understandable. But whatever you, feel that you want to share, go right ahead.
Well, I've been going through the Hangouts, the ones I've missed, kind of figuring out what's all been going on and where things are going. Mine means, I have gone on Facebook, and I, left a couple comments in my group. But the thing that's really, you talk about having overload paralyzing, and that's where I'm at. It's like there seems to be so much that needs to get done that I'm like, well, which way do I go? Which way? And I'm wanting to work on a daily action plan. So when I get with my accountability partner, both of us will be on the same page. And it's like, okay, well, did you get to talk to 10 people today? Did you do this? Did you do that? So we, what days the webinars are on, so that we know to make sure that day we make sure we get them done. I mean, right now it's just all in my head, and I need to get it down on paper on what does a productive day look like. Like, how many people do I connect? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I just feel overwhelmed, especially since I'm already a couple weeks behind in all this, That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, and I appreciate you sharing that, and that's going to be one of the cycles that we all go through. So, if that happens to any of us, which it has in the past, and I'm sure it probably will in the future, it's important to realize, what it is that we can do to overcome that situation, and that feeling of overwhelm, especially if you feel that you are a couple of weeks behind. That's something that can certainly affect you, and you certainly want to, deal with that. And one of the things that we're going to be doing, starting next week, we're going to start really working on the 6 steps, and we're going to start with the basically with the pre-training. And Tamara, I know that's going to help you, and it'll help all of us. Now, I know you have not purchased the 6-step sponsoring sequence, at this point. And one of the things that we're going to be doing, and if you haven't watched the videos yet, between now and next week, if you can, you should watch the videos from Gavin's Online Network Marketers Blueprint, because that's going to really explain a lot of what the course is about in 6 steps, and what many of us will be teaching and are teaching in our communities. And we're going to be working on that. One of the things that we're going to be talking about next week, and the thing that I like about this is because it's a step-by-step process and a step-by-step program, which is going to not only help all of us, but is exactly what you're talking about, where it lays out your daily activities. And it also, one of the things we're going to be talking about is what Gavin calls conversation ascension. And it's the conversations that you want to have, the questions that you want to have with people in order to build that rapport, to build those relationships, and to take your business to the next level. So one of the things I'm going to do between now and next week, I will try and put together some sort of an action plan so that you do know what it is that, would be helpful on a day-to-day basis. And, right now, because you did have the unfortunate situation in your personal life, I understand there's more of a feeling of overwhelm, and that's completely understandable. But we'll get you over that hump. We'll get you through that, and we're all going to be on the same page. So, and I agree with you, and it's an excellent point. Whether it's your accountability partner or just for your own personal sake, you want to know what a productive day looks like and what you can be doing. And that's the beauty of the 6-step sponsoring sequence, because it is a step-by-step process. And I think you're going to really like that when you see us getting started with that next week.
Okay, because I have went and looked at some of the videos, when I first found out about the blueprint. The thing is, it's like, okay, you catch them, and then this is what you're going to do in your community. Well, okay, how to get them to the communities where I'm having trouble, I can do the videos, or I can do the whatever in my community. It's just getting them into my community is where I don't know, how to connect with people to do that.
That's we're probably the point where most of us are at this point in trying to build communities. And again, one of the things that we're going to be talking about, if and when you get a chance during the course of the week, if you go into my community, you may have seen, go into the file section, and I've got certain strategies there. One is my birthday strategy. One is, you double your pleasure strategy, and then a basic Facebook strategy. And there's also a PDF that's basically, daily action steps for Facebook every day, and including.
That one.
Yeah, and I'll send you guys links to that so that you have that. And the daily action plan is all about connecting and things like that. And when we start next week talking about the conversations to have and the questions to ask, all that stuff is going to become much more clear to you also, and it's going to make a lot more sense. And once you start doing it, and you start doing it on somewhat of a consistent basis, it gets easier and easier, and it makes more and more sense. So all that stuff is gonna crystallize for you, and it's going to become much more clear. Hopefully, starting as early as next week and before, because I will prepare something that hopefully all of you can use. That's going to give you a better idea of daily action steps and things like that to take. And a lot of that's already in my community. So like I said, Tamara, during the course of the week, as you get a chance, and one of the things that I always suggest to everybody also to eliminate or avoid some of the overwhelm is, I'm the type of person, my schedule, like all of us, we have crazy schedules sometimes, and during the week I can only do so much, so I try and do it at night when I can. And sometimes I sacrifice my sleep, which I'm not recommending any of you do, because it's not necessarily a good thing. But on a Saturday or a Sunday, if I don't have plans, or even late at night, I can sit at the computer for hours on end and just keep cranking out content and things like that. So, not everybody feels comfortable doing that. So usually what I recommend is, work in blocks of time. Allocate, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes, block out a certain period of time and say, okay, during this 15 to 30 minute period, I'm going to contact and try and make 5 new friends. And, then maybe take a break and walk away from the computer. But, a lot of that depends upon your schedule and how much available time you have. Some of us are going to feel we don't have a lot of time, so we have to take advantage of the little bit of time we do have. But one of the best ways to avoid and overcome a lot of that overwhelm is just, with that kind of a time management tweak, is just, block out certain periods of time and just try to work within those time periods and have a specific goal that you want to achieve, and spend just that 15 minutes or that 30 minutes doing that and that alone. At the end of that time frame, you can even time it, put it on a regular timer, an egg timer, whatever you might have. At the end of that period, maybe have a second goal or task that you want to, achieve for that particular day. Commenting and sharing, or visiting other people's communities, or creating content for your community. But again, work in steps. Don't try and do everything at every given night. Maybe you only have 30 minutes to utilize for a given day, and during that 30 minutes, you only want to create content for your group. That's fine. Do that. You're moving your business forward. You're taking action. And then the next day, maybe you want to visit other people's communities and you want to comment and try and support them doing that. So it's a type of thing where you don't have to feel you have to do everything in a given day, because that will, create a little bit of overwhelm. Do what you can do. If it's 15 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, if you're doing anything to move your business forward, then you're doing a great job and you're doing more than most marketers out there. So, I think that's, one of the important things that I just want to leave you with is that, there's no set amount of time or no set amount of production that you have to do in a given day. You do what you feel comfortable doing. Don't feel as though you have to go into everybody's community and comment every single day. Not necessary. If you do it 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever time you have, that's great. Your main focus needs to be on building your business, and we've got the tool, we've got the resources with MLSP and with our team. So, that's where I think most of your attention should be focused, and, a lot of the other things can be very, very time-consuming and can be very distracting and can make you lose focus. So, again, Tamara, getting back to what you said earlier, and having like a daily action plan is a good thing, and, each of our different action plans may be a little bit different, because some of us have communities, some of us are still building communities, some of us have primary businesses, some of us don't, some of us work full-time during the day, some of us don't. I mean, everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different, so the daily action steps might be a little bit different as well, and that's fine too. So if anybody has any questions or any comments, go ahead and unmute yourself and feel free.
I was going to say, Tamara, if also in my community, the Online Dreamers, if you go into the files section there, there's a ton of training, and Gavin's, all of the 6-step training is in there, and he has scripts if you go through the training that you can use on people and get them into your group. I was just telling Mark, I did an advertisement with one of my funnelizers, and all it says is free Facebook cheat sheet. That's it, and it's through my autoresponder Allweber, and they click on it and they have to put in their name and email address. And as soon as they do that, what I do is I look them up on Facebook, or I send them an email and invite them to my community, and I'm getting really good response that way. So that's something you can think about and do too. And especially like if you have MLSP too, they have great funnelizers. I was just doing all the trainings on that and creating 2 new funnels for Facebook giveaway and Instagram giveaway. And again, and like I asked Mark, if people even, when I share those and ads in different Facebook groups and somebody even likes it, I look them up and I private message them and I invite them to the group, and I'm really getting good response doing that. But I do have scripts in there that you can use. I was the same as you. I didn't know what to say. I still really haven't made a phone call yet, and Mark and I need to go over that, but that's one of my biggest hang-ups. But I'm getting there. But there are good scripts you can use, and the other thing I do is I don't plagiarize, but I go to all the different groups and look and see because they'll post what they say to people, and that's why I love Evernote. I can copy what they're putting out there, and I can save it to Evernote, and then I can change it into my own words and then repurpose it. So that's another thing you can think about. So that's what I'm doing.
And that's great, Claudia. I mean, I've seen that you're getting you're getting excellent results from doing that. And I know that a lot of times marketers in general, not just, us, but marketers in general, sometimes have a difficult time asking for something that they want, a basic call to action. And, whether it's a basic teaser post that we're putting out or a value post or an engagement post, it's important for marketers to get over and to have the proper mindset and to get over the maybe fear of rejection or fear of you don't want to put somebody on the spot, you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, and you don't want to ask them for something, maybe you don't feel that you deserve it. whatever the case may be. One of the most important things, if, in moving your business forward, is to ask. If you don't ask, you don't receive. And and again, whether it's in Claudia's file section in her community or in my community, with some of the strategies that I recommend, that I use myself on a daily basis, and I get great results. It's you're looking for feeder content. You're looking for ways to get people into a community, and it's always only a matter of reaching out, having communication, having conversation with people, and it's really something that once you start doing and you become more comfortable with it, you'll see how easy it is. And all you have to do is, once you start a conversation, and like Claudia, I also have scripts in my community in the file section too, with recommended conversation starters and things that you can say and questions that you can ask. And once you connect and you start having the conversation, even if it's with a new friend, I send a new friend, somebody I've known for 5 minutes, I send them a message and I tell them I'd love to invite them to my community. Is it okay if I send you a link? And I tell them a little bit about what they can expect to find in the community. It's very short, it's very brief. I put a little message on their timeline, like a little quote, which usually gets their attention, and they usually respond to it. And then when you send them even the very, very first private message with a brand spanking new friend, they're going to see that. And not everybody, but a good percentage of them will say, sure, send me a link. And then once they ask for the link, and you send them the link, they go into your community. So, again, go into, Claudia's community, my community, go into the file section, and look at those strategies that I have there. And again, with that will come, little scripts and suggestions that you can use for conversation starters, and they work very, very well. There's a chat strategy that I recommend that I use every day, where if you have your chat turned on, you know exactly which of your Facebook friends is on Facebook at any given time. You just reach out to them, and you can probably get them into your community very quickly because you know that they're online. You can send them a quick message, and again, I'll have that type of stuff in my community, and you can connect, reconnect with them. It's going to be an existing friend that maybe you haven't spoken to in a while. Just reach out, tell them you started a new community. This is what I'm doing on my community, and I'd love for you to join. Can I send you a link? And they might respond back to you immediately because they're online and say, sure, send me a link. So there are a lot of very, very simple ways to use different ideas and strategies and tips and different ways to get people into your community. So don't be discouraged if your community is growing slowly now, because especially once we start the 6-step training next week, you're going to learn new ways and new methods and different ways of getting people, creating that content and having that, what Gavin calls feeder content, which is exactly what it is, to get people into your group. So that's stuff that we're going to be covering soon. The other thing I want to mention, which I've done with some of you guys already, and I want to just remind you, or for some of you that maybe I haven't mentioned this to before, it's just like a three-way conversation. And you've all heard, being in network marketing, you've all heard one of the most powerful things that you can do is to have a three-way conversation, with your prospect and your sponsor or some member of your upline. One of the other things that works very well is to even do that on Facebook and create a Facebook chat group. So if you have, I want to put this out here, and like I said, I've done this with some of you already a number of times, and the offer's out there anytime you need it. If you have a prospect, whether it's for your primary, whether it's for MLSP, whatever it's for, if once you start your conversation, you have a chat going. If you feel that it's a good prospect, or maybe you don't know exactly how to, answer their questions if they do have any, or how to really get started, but it's somebody that is showing some interest in maybe joining you in whatever it is, especially if it's MLSP, add me to the chat, and I'll be more than happy. It works just as well. A lot of people just don't have the ability, they don't have the time to really have that three-way phone conversation, but a three-way chat conversation is very, very powerful too. And I'm always there for any of you. If you want to create a chat with somebody and you want to add me to that chat, be more than happy. Then this way you can not only be a part of that, but I'll be asking questions and answering questions for your prospect, or for your lead, and you'll see exactly the types of questions that I ask and the types of answers that I give depending upon the questions that they themselves have. So, I want to just make sure that you're all aware of that as something else that you can utilize, which has proven to be very, very powerful, and it works in the past. So if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to unmute and mention that now.
Well, Claudia mentioned about the funnelizer thing. Now, do you have to be at the mastery level in order to use that, or is that just at the regular MLSP level?
The funnelizer is presently at the mastery level, but the nice thing about even the university level, obviously you're going to get certain other benefits and features, if you're at the mastery level, but the university level can work to your advantage greatly also, because you're going to have a lot of campaigns. You have the Wednesday webinars. You've got a ton of value. You've got the CRM. You've got full access to the blog. I mean, you're going to, if you haven't already, you will definitely have leads and prospects that possibly can generate a lot more leads through blogging. Maybe they're wannabe bloggers, but they don't know how to get started. I mean, for the cost of the university membership, to also get that blog platform is outstanding. I mean, that talk about value, and the training that comes along with setting up your own blog is very, very valuable. So, and they have, with all the campaigns, whether you use your own autoresponder or whether you use the default MLSP autoresponder, you have done-for-you capture pages and done-for-you funnels that you can use very effectively. I'll be honest with you. I'm at Mastery. I haven't used Funnelizer yet. I started to, and I just didn't really have the time to follow through. I know a lot of people that do and have great results. I haven't used it yet, and I don't know. I'm going to eventually. I don't know when that is, but there's so many other great ways to get people as a lead into your funnel. Just with the system campaigns, that works great. If you have your own blog, creating some sort of an opt-in page that gets them into your funnel. And certainly the MLSP blog itself is phenomenal, especially if you brand it to yourself, so that if you post something in your group, and we spoke about this last week a little bit, but the MLSP blog is a great tool because it can be branded to yourself. And I did post, I think in our chat group, I posted a link to a very brief video where they show you exactly, I think it was by, I don't know if it was from Brian or James Finale, but one of them had a very brief video showing you exactly how to register for the MLSP blog, and then you can offer that content, and it's branded to you. So if anybody even decides to take a trial, and you're offering great value because you're offering, phenomenal blog posts by industry leaders, and if somebody goes to that, it's branded to you. So if they decide to start a trial, it's tagged to you, and they take that trial under you. So, there's, even without using Funnelizer, there's so much value in the back office of MLSP that even as a university member, even though you're not going to get all the features and you're not going to have the ability to make the same commissions, the value is there. So, use what you have access to, and you can use it with and create a lot of very, very positive results.
Yeah, I've already got myself registered for that. That's one of the main things I've been using on my community.
Excellent.
Tamara,
Excellent.
I downgraded from Mastery to University just because I had to financially, and for right now it's working perfect for me. I really don't notice any difference, except for more extensive training and other things. And I will eventually, as my business grows, go back to the Mastery level. But for right now, the University level is like Mark says, it has everything you need to grow your business. I've been using it 6 months now, and I just now am getting into Funnelizer just because I like playing around with it. But like Mark says, they have a ton of already pre-done funnels for us that we just have to copy and paste the URL and use. And I mean, it's I don't know what to say about that. It's already done for us.
But are they being used in the community to get them into our funnel, or are you putting it on your main page so that trying to get people to come into your community? I just don't understand how that works yet.
I put it all over. If you look, I post the blogs from MLSP with with my affiliate. I do advertising all over the place with different MLSP system programs and things that they offer, and the webinars, the Wednesday webinars, even the Tuesday Hangout. I'm advertising, and I put it in my. I've advertised it in the group on my. I have also a page, a fan page that I do a lot of advertising on. So that's where I put it. I put it all over.
Yeah, and
Anywhere I can.
yeah, you want to leave as many breadcrumbs out there as you possibly can for people to follow. And one of the great things is that you can use so effectively. You can use a lot of their system campaigns in that quote unquote what they call teaser post. And Tamara, if you go to my profile page and you scroll down a little bit, you can see, and it was in my last training also, the Hangout that you missed. But you'll see a lot of content that I have on my profile page with again what we're calling a teaser post, where you don't give a link because you don't want to just send people right to the link. And this is another way, a great way to get people into your community, is you utilize the system campaigns. And what I'd like you to do, and probably the first strategy that you can look at when you get a chance, is, again, in my community, look at the Double Your Pleasure strategy, because that's going to tell you not only how to create a teaser post, utilizing one of the system campaigns, because you're going to offer free training, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whatever it is. There are great system trainings, again, even at the university level, and you're going to create a teaser post, and you're going to ask people, you're going to do a call for action, you're going to ask people, if they want, if they want access to this particular training. Again, it could be anything, it could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be the latest one is Snapchat. I mean, there's so much great value back there, and if you create a post and you tell people and you structure it the right way, which you'll see on my profile, and you'll see in my my documents and the files and for the strategy, when you structure it the right way and you just basically have a good call to action where you tell people, if you'd like to get access, please just let me know with a comment, so it creates engagement also in your post. And then all you really have to do is, once they've raised their hand and they've said that they want access to that content, you can do a couple of things. One of the most effective things is to start filling up your community in your file section with a lot of the content from MLSP as well. This way, what winds up happening is you use that to entice them. You send them a private message and you basically tell them, if you're not already a member of my community, please join. There's a little bit more detail, and there's examples of it in the training that I have in the community. But you're basically going to tell them to please join your community, and then they'll get immediate access to that particular training. Or you can even give them a direct link. But once you get them into your group, now you've used that teaser post, you've used that value to get them into your community, and then once they access that, they're going to be opting into that campaign. So now you have them in your community, and you also have them as a lead in MLSP. And whether you have your own autoresponder or you use the default autoresponder, they're a lead. They go into your CRM, so you can send them a message through that. And they also go into your default autoresponder, so they're getting autoresponded messages on your behalf directly. So you basically killed two birds with one stone, and why I call it either that with a Double Your Pleasure strategy. So look into that. It's another great way to get people into your community, and at the same time, a lead in your back office for MLSP.
But if my account is parked right now, remember?
Yeah, and that's fine. But when it's not parked, I mean, that's something that when it's active again, I mean, yeah, you can't use that presently at the moment, but I'm sure in the not too distant future you will be able to. And when you can, that's a great thing to do. But in the interim, look at the other strategies. Look at the birthday strategy. Look at the basic Facebook strategy. Look at the chat strategy. These are all, again, very effective ways of bringing people into your community. Not at the same time, in your case, presently, it's not going to, help you to get them into your funnel and as a lead in MLSP, but it's sure going to get them into your community very effectively. And when you're ready to activate MLSP again, now these are people that you already have a connection with. These are people that you're already having a conversation with. And then it might not be a very difficult transition to get them to that next level. So as long as they're in your community and they see that you're offering value and providing great content with that value, they're going to keep coming around. And then when you're ready to take that conversation with that conversation ascension and ask the right questions, you're ready to take that to the next level, then you'll be able to transition them possibly, very possibly, and with a high probability into MLSP. So if anybody has any questions on that, feel free. Otherwise, we'll move along. Okay, moving along. Some of you, I'm just going to, I want to make a point, but in order to do that, I just want to tell you very briefly. Some of you probably, I know Claudia, I know you saw the post that I made earlier in the community. The reason that I canceled, that I postponed yesterday's Hangout was because I had an obligation with a doctor's appointment for my my mother-in-law. So when we went to get them the other day, my father-in-law is 93, my mother-in-law is 88. God bless both of them. My father-in-law has gone through a lot in the past. Medically, is quite a history, and he has vascular problems. And when we got there, we were told that he had swelling in his legs. So my wife and I looked, and at that point realized that we had to get him to the emergency room. So we spent all day in the emergency room. The happy ending is he was released and he's home and he's feeling okay, and hopefully that's going to continue to progress. But the point that I was going to make was that my first inclination was, after the day that I had and the stressful day that we had yesterday, I really, initially didn't really, was thinking of postponing or canceling today's Hangout. But, I didn't want to do that because, first of all, I love getting together with all of you. I love what we have going on here and, the dynamics of it. And, it's a commitment that I've made. And, one of the important things for all of us, I guess, to be cognizant of, whether it's MLSP, whether it's our primary, whatever it is, it's important to show up. Obviously there are going to be reasons why sometimes you can't. You're going to be in the hospital, or you're going to have, personal issues that you're going through. And, again, like I said at the beginning of the Hangout, that's completely understandable, and it's going to happen to all of us at some point in time or another. But just from a very basic, fundamental standpoint, all things being equal and nothing, major or catastrophic going on in your life, there's still going to be days where you just don't feel like, having a Hangout, hosting a Hangout, going to a Hangout, watching a video, watching a training for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But it's important to, when you have a team, hopefully, you do at this point to some degree, or you will certainly going forward. And when you have gotten to that point, certainly you want to be seen as a leader in your team, and you want to stand out, and you want to create good work habits. So it's always important to show up whenever you possibly can. And, basically, that's a lesson that I've been, preaching to people for a while, and certainly one that I put into practice myself today, because I was thinking about, postponing, and then I said, no, I enjoy this too much, and I owe it to you guys, so I wanted to make sure that, we forged ahead. So, that's one of the things going on today. So, we're already at an hour, and I was hoping to end this and just keep it going for an hour, but we haven't even gotten into the events yet. But I think that what we did cover was important, and, like I said right from the start, from the first Hangout that we had, these Hangouts can go in a lot of different directions. I don't have a specific, set in cement agenda that we have to cover. I mean, there are going to be other things that come up that will be equally, if not more important, that we discuss no matter what the topic is. So, these, I don't, feel that when we start a Hangout, we've got to cover a certain area. We'll try and stick as close to it as we possibly can, certainly starting next week with the 6 steps, because that's something that's going to help all of us. But I do want to spend a little bit of time just going over events, just to make sure that we're all creating them, the way that we should, so we get the, again, the biggest bang for our buck, and, no bucks involved because it's free to set it up, which makes it even more valuable. So I just want to spend a few minutes going over that. I'll try and keep it as short as I can. Claudia, I know that you already created an event for this week's MLSP. Now, I know that, Glenn, I think it may have been you that sent me a message. One of the things I want to mention, I guess it was to do with the timeline of the different webinars that we have during the course of the week with Gavin's and with MLSPs. And both fortunately and unfortunately, for the most part, they fall on the same day. Gavin has his webinars, and we never know exactly what the topic's going to be, but generally, it's always centered around the 6 steps, which, Tamara, this will also be great for you, being you don't have the course. If you can, attend some of they do it in a different platform, a Blab platform, but it's always, 99% of the time, they're having a webinar or having a meeting, and it's usually centered around some aspect of the 6 steps. So if you can attend some of those, and there are always replays that they post on the blog, or I'll post in my community, those will be also excellent ways for you to really get some great training as far as conversations and feeder content and ways to get people into community and to build your brand and a presence on Facebook. So those trainings are very, very good. Now, what I generally tend to do, if it's one of Gavin's trainings and it's related to the 6 steps, I usually will post that only in my community for my community members, because they've already been exposed to a lot of the stuff I say about 6 steps. However, you can also offer that to a lot of your other friends as well. Now, the nice thing about the webinars on Wednesday is usually a good day for webinars. It's in the middle of the week, and people already feel they've gotten through a good portion of the week, and they only have a couple of days left, so they're more willing to sit and watch a webinar. Now, the MLSP webinars, with few exceptions, usually aren't recorded for the general public as far as a replay. But the nice thing about having both the MLSP webinars at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday and Gavin's webinars at, let's say, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesdays is that as far as your audience, you have a lot of people, and we spoke about this last week, and there's no reason why you can't actually create an event for both, even if it's on the same day, because you're going to have an audience that will be able to attend one and probably not the other because of the time. I personally can't attend any of Gavin's webinars at 4 o'clock Eastern Time because I'm working. However, that's about 9 o'clock UK time. And, there are a lot of people, obviously, that live in the UK and other areas of the world that aren't going to be able to attend a webinar from MLSP at 9 p.m. because it's the middle of the night for them. So there are going to be times when you want to give people an option. You want to give people a choice. If they can't make the one webinar, they might be able to make the other. Some people are going to be very, very motivated, might want, if it's excellent content, excellent value, and they can see that, they may decide that they want to attend both webinars. As I mentioned earlier, creating events and driving traffic and guests to webinars is powerful because you are providing great value, and the hosts, whether it's Gavin or whether it's whoever's presenting at MLSP this particular week or that particular week, they talk about the value of joining. And so you're just sending traffic and you're letting them close for you. And that's something that's very powerful. So I'm just going to do a quick screen share. But before I do, I'm going to open up the chat, because one of the things that I did over there is, and I know that I think you had asked me in a private message as far as, some of the things, some of the conversations that you can have with people that maybe are showing interest in attending a webinar. So if you guys want to, if you see the chat now, and possibly it might even be something you want to copy and paste into a notepad, one of the important things, probably the most important thing, is, number one, of course, creating the event, but the follow-up. And it's not just follow-up after the event, it's follow-up before the event. Sometimes it could be follow-up during the event, and certainly follow-up after the event. Now, I've had people during the course of an event which is about to start, they can't find their webinar registration link. So they'll reach out to me and say they can't get on the webinar, I can't find my link. So if you've been in communication with them, you can send them a quick private message, give them the link, they'll hop on the webinar, they might even join. You just never know. So follow-up is really, really critical. So if you look at what I have posted in the chat, or like I said, if you want to copy and paste it and look at it later, this is just to give you an idea as to some of the conversation that I have, and with people in terms of following up. Before one of the things you want to do is that when you create an event, you're going to get people that are going to respond. They're going to say they're interested in the event. They're going to say they're attending the event. But for some reason, when some people click on a Facebook event and they say, yes, I'm going to attend, they think that's the end of it, that's all they have to do, and they don't remember to take it to the next step, to click on the link to register for the webinar. So one of the important things that you want to do, and I'm going to do a quick screen share now. Let's see.
Mark, so right now, the main two ones that we should be concerned with are just the two on Wednesdays then?
Well, the only webinars that we really have right now seem to be on Wednesdays, both Gavin's and the MLSP. MLSP, just so that you know, first of all, can you guys hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. The MLSP webinars, or MLSP has training, and they have webinars almost every day of the week. So the big one is the Wednesday webinar. That's really the pure value webinar that you want to really drive traffic to. But for your own participation and your own knowledge, and to have something else to share, you can look in the back office of MLSP and you can see, go onto the webinar schedule, and you can see almost every day they have webinars. They have something going on that you can invite people to or go to yourself depending upon the time, which is also excellent training. So let me just...
Plus, Mark, in the back office of MLSP, they have tons of training videos, hundreds that you can share on any subject. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, you name it, there's a training on it that you can put a teaser ad out there and share with people. Send the link. So that's
absolutely
a really good way to build your community too.
Absolutely. Hey guys, unmute yourself and just tell me right now if you can. I'm on my Facebook profile page. Can you tell me if you can see that?
No, I see your face.
You see my face? Okay.
Yes. Nope.
So let's see. Let's go back and do this again. Okay. What about now?
Now we do. There it is.
Okay. First, I'm going to go to my profile. And well, you know what? Let me go back to the event first. One of the things that you want to make sure that you do is when you, and I haven't even promoted the event yet, and I see already a couple of people have seen the link and they already said they're going to join, and I haven't even sent anything out yet. But I did create the event, so it's a public event, so people are going to see it. So certainly one of the things you want to do is create some sort of an image. Now, you have options. I know, Dig, I see your event, and Claudia, and you opted for a slightly different, picture over here, cover image, and that's fine as long as you get something out there. And you want to say something, and you don't have to be overly creative. You can stick pretty close to what the registration page looks like and what they put out from MLSP. But what you want to do, you want to give people an idea. They're not going to generally join the webinar or say that they want to attend the webinar unless in the title you're giving them an idea as to what it's about. So over here, confused with WordPress and blogging, join us for this special Q&A session. So at least they know what it's about and might entice them to say, okay, I want to join. So now when you get people that are starting to say that they're interested and that they're going, what I was mentioning before, you want to have some detail over here. You want to, and you can take it right from basically verbatim if you want to, right from the registration page. And that's basically where I've created, for myself a little bit of a template, which I mentioned earlier. Now, can you guys still see where I am right now, the details on the page?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I would basically do, I use the same format and I just basically drop in the current information. So I'm not creating something basically completely new from scratch. So I might just copy and paste everything over here that I have in the event description, put it in a notepad, and then when the next week's event comes along, just basically update it. You know, you're updating the date over here, everything else, your links are all going to be the same. Was there a question?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. So, you know, your links are going to be the same. You're just updating the date, and you're updating over here what the topic is, you know, what they're going to be discussing, who the host is, and, you know, what's going to be discussed. You know, give more detail. You don't want to, you know, you want to give them more of a reason. Anybody who visits the event page is going to want to know a little bit more about what the event is about more often than not before they commit to saying, okay, I'm going to attend. So you want to try and have a little bit more detail rather than less detail in the section over there. Now, also, what's going to happen, and what I was mentioning before, where some people think that once they say they're going or they're interested, that's all they have to do. And they haven't actually gone to the official link and gone to the registration page. So one of the things that's very important to do as a way of following up, and I have it in the chat, is that basically, as a matter of fact, I'll go back to the chat right now real fast. And I'm going to, well, actually, you know what? Let's see where I have that. Okay, I'm back. Can you see the chat now? Is the chat showing for you guys?
No.
Okay, I'll stop the screen share for a second, and I'll come back live. Now you should be able to see the chat.
Nope, see you.
But on the right-hand side, do you see the group chat? Okay, so now,
yeah.
So if you scroll down towards the point where I have the content over there, there's one that says it starts with "Hi Cheryl."
No, Mark, all I see is your face.
And you don't say, okay, let me try and open the chat again. Let me close it.
Are you talking about the chat in the group section here?
Oh, yes, in the group section, in the group.
All I have is me. I typed something, and that's all it shows.
It's not showing what I have in there?
No.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure why that is. All right, what I'm going to do then, I'm going to post this in our group chat. Okay. You know, right after we're done with the Hangout. But I'll read to you basically what it is. So again, if you have people that are saying that they're interested in the webinar, you want to make sure they have not forgotten to officially register. And that's going to accomplish two things. Number one, once they go to the registration page, they're going to be a lead in your back office. So you've got them now as a lead in MLSP. And the other thing that's going to happen is with a lot of these, whether it's registering for a webinar or whether it's using one of the system campaigns, it's going to take them to a thank you page, which is going to give them information about you. It's going to give them information about your primary. It's going to give them more information and an opportunity to join and even start a trial if they wanted to. And it's going to give them access to find out more about, again, your primary, not just MLSP. So it's very important to get a lead into your back office. So you want to make sure that they register for the webinar. So one of the, it's a very brief message I send out. In this case was, hi, whoever it is, hi Cheryl. I hope you're doing well. I see you visit my event page for, and then of course you use whatever the updated subject is for this particular week's webinar. This was the one for Twitter. So I see you visit my event page for Twitter training part 2. And then I go into a little bit more detail. And then I give them the date, Wednesday, March 30th at 9 p.m. Don't forget to officially register at, and then I give them my registration link that's tagged to me for MLSP. Okay, this will be an information-packed webinar. I hope you can attend. So you want to make sure that once somebody shows interest or says that they're going to the webinar, in case they drop the ball and they haven't actually registered, you want to send them a private message, and you want to just remind them that this is the link that you have to go to register. And you'll find in many instances, right after you do that, you're going to get an email from MLSP saying that this or that person registered and now they're a lead in your back office. And it's going to go in if you have a Weber, get response, default, autorespond, it doesn't matter. you'll get a notification that they're now a lead in MLSP, and then if you have an autoresponder like AWeber, you'll get a notification from AWeber too, saying that now you have a new AWeber lead. So, and that's just simply from a registration for a webinar. So you want to make sure that people don't forget to do that. And again, I'll post that in our group chat so you have all that information.
But again, until since I have it parked, it's not going to do me any good. Is that, or at least get into my community, or I'm hoping to be able to do this soon. But like I said, you know my situation right now.
Absolutely, and right now, some of this stuff you're not going to be able to take advantage of. However, you can still do it. I would actively do it so you're providing value, even though they won't actually become a live lead in your back office. Once you reactivate, they should. So I would still go through the steps, get practice doing it, get good at doing it, get comfortable at doing it. And it's something that when you are, reactivated, you're going to want to do on a weekly basis, on a recurring basis. So it's something that I would start practicing now, because it's still, whether it's in your community or just with on your profile, or whoever you want to share it with, definitely create events, because you're still providing value and you're still going to have the same link. So you can still drive traffic to a webinar, because this way people will still appreciate the fact that you are providing that value for them.
So if the webinars are on Wednesday, when should we put out the event?
Well, as soon as basically MLSP will send out, what MLSP does, they do a couple of different things. And you still have access to your back office even though you're parked. So you should be able to go into your webinar schedule, click on the link, like the .org link, which is the best one, because that's when you'll get the opt-in and you'll be notified. But one of the things that you can do, you can click on that link and you can see what the upcoming webinar is. Sometimes if you don't want to do it too early, because you don't even have details, you don't know what the webinar is going to be. Once they've determined that, you'll normally get an email notification from MLSP giving you information about the upcoming webinar. And if your .org link is active at that point, this is for everybody now, if that link is active, you can start promoting it right then and there. I know, Claudia, you promoted yours very early. Well, not early. You promoted, I guess, as soon as you got the information, which I think was, what, maybe Friday or Saturday? And I try to do the same. Sometimes I'll do it on a Sunday, and this way, I might also send out, generally what I'll try and do also on a Sunday, so my list will see it on a Monday morning, and they'll have enough time to know what the schedule is perhaps for that Wednesday evening. So I'll also send out an autoresponder broadcast message to my list, basically almost duplicating exactly how I set it up for the event. So again, you're working from like a similar template, but you're just tweaking it a little bit, and you're sending an email message, a broadcast message, to your list, letting them know that there's a webinar also. So you have more of an opportunity to get people to register for that webinar, not just because you promoted it on Facebook, but because you sent it to your list as well.
That's once we start our list.
And that's fine. If you don't have a list now, that's not a problem. And you don't have to have a huge list. I don't. You don't have to have thousands of people. You just want to have a responsive list. And that's one of the things that you will be doing, again, when you activate your MLSP and you remove it from Park. Anytime you offer the system campaigns and you get that information out there and you use it as feeder content, you're, again, killing more birds with that one stone, because now, once they're a lead in your back office, they're on your list. And that is one of the great ways that you can continue to build your list and build it effectively and build it quickly and on a consistent basis, just basically from all the content that you have from the system campaigns. So, you'll be able to do that in the not too distant future. So, these are things that, I want you to maybe now just start developing that habit and start doing it and creating the event, just so you feel comfortable doing it, and then you'll really reap the benefits later on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that even while you're parked, I think that you won't probably be notified, but I think once you reactivate, I think that they're probably going to show up as leads in your back office and your CRM. So I don't believe that you're going to lose them completely, but even if you do at this point, it's still good to get into that practice and, again, to be offering value. And because people, whether they're in your community or you want to use that to get them into your community, they're going to see you as somebody who's a provider of value, and that can only help you, short term and long term.
Thank you.
Sure. And the other thing, which is of course very important, and in the interest of time, I'll just post it in the group later, but one of the other things that you want to do is following up after the webinar. And I guess also, Dig, this ties into one of the questions that you asked me, and I know you guys can't see it now, so I will post it in the chat, but it's very important, and there's certain things where you can reach out to somebody after the webinar. Now, just because they say they're interested, or just because they say that they will attend, doesn't mean that they will. They might have registered for 12 different webinars that night, or maybe they forgot about it, or they got distracted, and so they didn't attend. So it's important for all of us after the webinar to reach out to anybody that went to our event page and said that they were interested or said that they were going to go, to find out if they actually did. And you want to basically just ask them a basic question: were you able to attend? If so, I'd like to know, what your biggest takeaway was. Did you find value? And also ask them, if they didn't attend the webinar, would they like to be sent a link? Would you like me to send you a replay link when one is available? Now, MLSP does a couple of things that I think are great. Well, first of all, they don't always make webinars available to the general public as a replay. Always available to members, which is great. Sometimes it's available to the general public, which is good when it is, but the thing that I really, really love, when it's really a high-octane webinar, they will do a replay link, but in addition to that, they will create a system campaign, which they did with the Part 1 Twitter training, which they did with the Snapchat training, which they do with a lot of the great webinar training, and that gives us more fuel. That gives us another resource to use that we can actually send out to people, and to prospects and to leads, and it works great because, again, you can use it in a teaser post, you can use it as a way to entice people into your community. Works like a charm almost each and every time. And again, that, right now, for those of you that are active in MLSP, can be used with that, kill two birds with one stone strategy. And, again, it works very, very effectively. So that's something that you definitely want to do. So, again, the bottom line is, and the point I was going to make, is that following up is critical before, during, and especially after the webinar. Before, because you want to make sure people officially registered, and after, because you don't want to lose, you don't want to lose control over that lead. You don't want to just let them think that you're a one-hit wonder, that you're just going to invite them and then forget about them. Even though they're not a member of MLSP, even though they're not on your team, they're a lead, they're a prospect, and they may be one day in the not-too-distant future. So you want to keep in touch with them. You want to keep that conversation going, and you want to know what they got out of it, if they got the value out of the webinar. If they didn't attend the webinar, is it okay if I keep you on my list and I send you invites for future webinars? And then another thing that you can do, which worked great last week with the Twitter webinar, the Part 2 Twitter, you're going to have system campaigns. There's always going to be something that ties in pretty closely with a given webinar. So if you have somebody that said that they were going to attend the webinar, turns out that you find out when you follow up that they didn't attend the webinar, you can say, well, I do happen to have a training that you might be interested in. You may not have made it to the Twitter Part 2, but I have a training I can send you for Twitter Part 1, which was packed with information and all kinds of gold nuggets. Is it okay for me to send you that link? More often than not, they're going to say yes. Plus, you might have some other, somewhat related system campaign that sort of ties into a webinar that maybe they missed. But the important thing is, you can tell them, I'm sorry that you missed the webinar, and let's say it was about Facebook. You can tell them, but I do have some great training that might help you. Is it okay if I send you the training about such and such, and whatever that system campaign is? And again, more often than not, people want the training. They might not implement it, they might not access it right away, but eventually they will. And even before then, as long as they opt in, you now have a lead and they go into your autoresponder. And that's great. They're getting messages from you. And unless they opt out, there's always a possibility after they receive several messages that they may decide to join you or at least take a trial. So it's always great to keep that conversation going and to follow up with people. Well, before I go into the next thing, I'll just ask you guys if you want to unmute if you have any questions.
So in my situation, right now, I can do all this just to get into practice, still build my community, and then once I reactivate it, I'm going to have all those leads that I can continue on. So just go ahead and work it as if I am reactivated.
I would say so. I would
Okay.
think that that would be a very good practice to get into. And again, you're going to be providing value. Even though you may not get that live lead right now, it's going to be something that's great to basically promote to your group, to your community, because it's going to show that you're providing value. And they're going to appreciate it. And they're going to want to reciprocate possibly in some way, shape, or form. And that's a wonderful thing about just the whole idea of reciprocity and becoming a solution provider. When you provide value to somebody, and especially if it's something that they see that as pure value, they see that they're getting something out of it, they're getting some tips, they're getting some new strategies, they're implementing it, they're seeing results, they're going to remember you were the one that led them to that. So they're going to trust you. That's where that know, like, and trust comes in, and that's where they're going to continue to follow you in your community. They're going to continue to engage with you in your community, and they're going to, the next time you offer a link, provide a link for another training, they're going to jump all over it, and they're going to want that link again, and they're going to come to expect that from you, and they're going to appreciate it when they do, and they're going to see you differently, and you're going to stand out to them. And, again, these are the people that when you officially get them into your back office or as a lead, or they may just want to know, they may private message you. Or one of the things you're going to learn as we go through the 6 steps is that they're now a contact of yours. You're going to want to start a conversation with them. You're going to want to ask them certain questions. You are going to want to find out what challenges, what obstacles, what pains they have. They're having difficulty with their online business. Are they able to generate leads? What problems are they having? And then you will be able to recommend MLSP to them. So these are all things that you want to definitely do because you want to get those conversations going. You want to continue to provide value in your community. So by all means, absolutely positively, do that.
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt, but I've got to run. I've got an emergency, so
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I'm the only licensed vet tech around, and a friend of mine's
Wow.
dad's having puppies, and it's having trouble, so they just
Mazel tov.
So love all you guys. This has been a huge, great focus group. And Mark, everything you said is what I'm doing, and Tamara and Glenna, it's helping my group grow tremendously. And really, in the last month and a half, I've gone from what, Mark, like 25 people to over 118. So
Yep.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm a sponge. My attitude, basically, my attitude is my business will grow if I do the work. I'm more into gaining as much knowledge as I can, whether I purchase it or get it free, and then sharing it and helping everybody else, because like I said, I'm new to this too. So I think if we all share what we learn, everybody benefits. So that's the way I look at it. And I think with that attitude, it's just, I kind of have a I don't care if my business grows attitude. I'm more into helping people, and with that attitude, my business is growing leaps and bounds. So,
and you know what? What you just said.
I'm gonna run, and Mark will reiterate on that. So, bye everyone, and see you on Facebook. Bye.
Good luck with the pops. Yeah, I just want to expand real quickly on what Claudia said, because it's very, very true, and it's very, very important. When you have that mindset, look, obviously we all want our businesses to grow, and we all want to, earn commissions and earn income from our businesses. But when you have the mindset that that's not what's first and foremost, that that's not the most important thing, that you want to help people, that's when your business will grow. That's when people look at you differently. That's when you stand out, and that's when people see you as a solution provider. So, yeah, it's important to have that mindset. So I think that what Claudia said is very, very important. And also, as long as Claudia jumped off, and I know that Glenna probably has a responsibility now, being she's a caretaker, and we're already on for a while longer than I wanted to. What I'm going to do, I wanted to go over creating a Google event, which is pretty similar to creating a Facebook event. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a separate little video just walking you through as I create. It'll be basically just watching over my shoulder as I create a Google event. And Dig, I know you had a couple of questions about that. I'll address that as well. So I'll try and get that done within the next handful of days, and then I'll post it in our chat group. So this way you'll see also exactly how to, how to create an event in Google Plus, which is also another great platform. If you're not on it, it's probably advisable to get on that one, because that's another great platform to create events.
I have a Google Plus, but it's like not under my Just Ask Aunt Tam link. It's like some old stuff, but I'm not sure how I, should I just start fresh with my Just Ask Aunt Tam branding and just kind of start fresh, and how do I get people into that? Or, go to where I already have with something old that I haven't touched in years.
Yeah, excellent question. Now, always go with your current branding. Even if you have to start over and start from scratch, you want your branding to be congruent across all your social platforms. And there is, and I'll include that when I make the video. Glenna, you stepped away for a moment, so one of the things I mentioned was, in the interest of time, I'm going to make a separate video where you guys will sort of be able to look over my shoulder as I create a Google Plus event. And Dig had a couple of questions which I'll address, and Tamara has one which I'll address in the video, so as not to take up a lot of time now. And yeah, Tamara, so to answer your question, I would definitely say create a new one. In the video I'll show you exactly where you go. Actually reaching out to new friends on Google Plus is a little bit different, because you're actually placing them in circles, and you're going to get followers, and you're going to follow other people. But I have like about 10,000 followers on Google Plus, and it just happens virally. It happens very, very quickly. And I don't know 99% of them, of course. But when I create an event, it's almost like with Facebook, where you can segment, you can create lists. You can basically do the same thing with Google Plus. So I have, my friends that I want to invite to webinars, let's say, I have it segmented into different lists, so I can invite them much more quickly. So creating an event on Google, because you basically copy and paste in what you did on Facebook for your event, and just moving it over to Google. And the invite process is very, very quick, so it doesn't take a lot of time. And then all the steps are pretty much the same as far as the following up. But you'll see it's very easy they'll give you all kinds of friend suggestions. It basically connects to all of your friends on Facebook fairly easily, and then you'll just be able to go in and you'll be able to just follow. Include people in your in your Google circles, and then within a short period of time, a lot of them are going to follow you back. And as they follow you back and you're connected to them, then when you create a Google Plus event and you go to invite, they'll populate. So all you have to do is whatever list you have them on, a friends list or anything that's a specialized list, you'll be able to just click on that, which you can do on Facebook also, and you'll be able to just invite them very, very quickly and very, very easily. So Google Plus is probably, aside from Facebook, one of the more user-friendly venues and platforms as far as creating events. So I like using Google Plus, and I also have had fairly good results. And the other nice thing about that is that you can also use Google Plus as a way to leverage it to get people into your community. And as a first step, as an initial step, it's very easy once you connect with people on Google Plus is to get them to move over and become your friend on Facebook. And then you have other opportunities. Once you're your friend on Facebook, then you use all the Facebook strategies, and then you can also leverage that to get them into your community with some of the tips and strategies that I mentioned earlier. So Google Plus is good for that reason, for a couple of reasons. It's it's a lot of people, are on Google Plus, so you'll develop followers and friends pretty quickly on Google Plus. You can, if you want, move them over easily to Facebook, and then once they're on Facebook, or even before, even from Google Plus, there are good ways, easy ways to get them transitioned and get them right into your community. So these are some of the things that make it important also to create events on Google Plus. And like I said earlier, there's not always going to be time to do everything, and maybe some weeks you'll just create events on Facebook, and you won't even worry about Google Plus. Maybe some weeks you'll create events on both, but you won't have time to send out an autoresponder message, and that's fine. As long as you create at least one event a week for one of the, whether it's for MLSP or it's for Gavin. I usually, once I find out what the topic is going to be for Gavin's webinar, Gavin's his blab that week, his Networking Superstars School topic is going to be, I always post it in my community anyway, so you guys can always find it there as well. And if you're on Gavin's list, which I'm sure all of you are, you'll be getting notified anyway. And a lot of us are in other groups, other communities from other of the ambassadors as well. So they will be doing the same thing in their community. So if you don't see it initially in mine, they sometimes will post it a little bit sooner, than I will. So you'll see it in their community as well. So you'll probably be notified several different ways of any upcoming events that Gavin has, and he pretty much religiously seems to be having these every Wednesday. And Tamara, again, I just want to reiterate for you, when you can, and they're 99% of the time there are replays when Gavin does a webinar. His training is awesome, and what's going to help you is with the 6 steps. His webinars usually center around one aspect of the 6 steps. So that's going to be a tremendous help to you, so it'll make more sense when we start training on it starting next week, and we go over the different topics. That'll be one great way.
Where do I access that?
His training, you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying the replays.
The replays I'll always post in my community. There's also, if you're on his list, you'll probably be notified as well. So I'll send you a link to make sure that you're on Gavin's list, or all you really have to do is go to his community, the one for the, let me just see if I can pull it up real fast. Just give me 1 second. Are you guys seeing my Facebook page at this point?
Nope, still seeing you.
Okay. I will just, well, actually, you know what? I'll probably just wind up dropping that link in our Facebook chat group anyway, being you're not seeing the chat that I have posted over here in the Hangout. But basically, what you want to do is, Gavin's Journey to Freedom community, usually that's where he'll also post. That's the central hub that Gavin really is using right now for anything related to Networking Superstars. So I believe all of you are probably in that community. So you'll see him post, when he has upcoming webinars, you'll see it posted there as well.
All right, great. Thank you.
And again, I'll reach out to you guys. I'll post it in the chat group. So you'll always know that there's something coming up, and go ahead and create an event if you can, that type of thing. So I'll give you a fair warning as soon as I find out.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
Does he have a special link, or do we have a affiliate link we could use for those labs?
Yes. You should have an affiliate link. I will get you in. It's a link that's going to end where you're going to have to put your unique affiliate ID number at the end of it. So I'll send you how that's formatted. You should be able, if you were to go into your back office, once you purchase the 6 steps, Gavin should have set up your back office, and you should be able to go in there and you should be able to see your affiliate link. And in that, he should also have a list of some of the other main links that we use all the time. So there should be a link over there for his weekly Networking Superstars school.
Okay.
So he does two things. When he creates an event, you'll be notified when he creates an event. And when you want to create your own event, you want to have it tagged to you, then you definitely want to go ahead and use that unique affiliate link. But then he also gives in his event, which you can also do, he gives a separate direct link right to the Blab page where people can register directly right from the page. But I generally tend to just give the main registration, which is tagged to me, and then people usually click on that, and they'll be taken to a registration page anyway. So that usually works better, and at least this way I know it's tagged to me.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. That's why I wasn't putting them out there, is because I couldn't find a link to tag to me.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure you have that link. If when you get a chance, jump back into the back office. Now you do have access to back office now, right?
I haven't checked.
Okay.
I did get in to make sure I could get in, but I didn't have time to look at it.
Yeah, that's fine. Whenever you do have time, go into the back office. There should be a link over there. Should be a couple of links. One should be a profile link. So when you go to your profile, you should see a whole section where Gavin has basically the more common, the more important links. And I think it's already pre-populated with your unique affiliate ID. If it's not, I'll send you a link showing you the format, and all you have to do is just at the end, just substitute your unique number, whatever it is, 150, 250, 400, depending upon how many people are already, in the community. So that's all you'll have to do. Just swap out yours from, get rid of mine, insert yours, and then that'll be the link that you send out when you create your Facebook event or any other event. Just like now, when you do an MLSP event, you're going to be using your unique MLSP link to drive people to the registration page. Gavin will have, you'll have your own unique link with Gavin, sending him to register for his event also.
Okay.
So it'll be set up in pretty much the same way, just the links, the affiliate links are just formatted differently.
Okay, great, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions before we end the Hangout for today? Dig, any questions from you, sir? Dig, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you. I think you're muted. Hey, Dig, you have to unmute yourself. Dig, can you hear me? Shake your head if you can hear me. You have to unmute. You're muted. I can't hear you. Let me see if I can unmute you.
You going soon? Sounds like it may be his microphone because he's unmuted.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Dig, you must be having a... Dig, can you hear me? Yeah, there's a problem with your microphone. We can't hear you. What I'm going to do real fast before we end the Hangout, I'm just going to make, like I normally do, I'm just going to make a couple of Hangout images that I can send to you guys that you can post in your community or your profile page. So Dig, as long as at least your camera's working, even if your mic isn't, I'm going to just do a quick image over here that I can send to you. And then I'll do the same for you guys also. So just give me a moment while I do this. Almost done with the first one. Okay, one down. Okay, Glenna, you're up. I'm doing yours now. Glenn, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions or anything.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. I'm almost done saving yours now, and then I'll send that to you later. Okay. Hey, I almost forgot to do one of myself.
Oh no.
Can't let that happen. Too bad I couldn't catch one for Claudia before she left.
I'm definitely going to be working on figuring out my camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I mean, the next time you shut down and you restart or you come online, I mean, it may sort of self-correct. That does happen sometimes.
Mm.
Okay, and the last one is for you, Tamara. So let's do that quickly. With your little cartoon character, which I think is really cool. And then I will let you guys go and enjoy your Sunday.
I got to go to work in a couple of hours. Are you kidding me?
Oh, boy.
Normally I don't do nights, but I am today.
Okay, just about done and saved. Okay, we are good. All right, guys, this has been a great hangout. I appreciate all of you coming on a Sunday. I think that's great. Again, it did run like it always happens. I guess there's so much we have ground to cover and so much to talk about that it tends to run a little bit long. Well, we'll get that under control going forward, though. But I appreciate all you guys, taking part in the hangout today. Dig, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened with your microphone. So if you can hear me and you want to send me whatever your question might have been, if you just want to send me a message, I'll be more than happy to answer it or maybe include it in whatever video I'm going to make about the Google Plus events. So hopefully that'll work. And anyway, we'll see you guys around the community. See you guys during the course of the week. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of today. And we'll see you guys soon.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the broadcast now.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.